We've discussed the president of a place called Azerbaijan on air before, and this is the guy who was literally announced the winner of an election a day before the election even happened. So if you were wondering why I used the fucking air quotes to say president, that's why. Because he wasn't even fucking elected. The day before, they said, he wins. He wins. It was like a press release that got sent out through their government website or some shit, and people were like, what? We didn't even vote yet. They're like, oh yeah, our bad, typo. Something. So it's clear that it's a dictatorship, and they just fucking staged the elections, and they released the results too soon. And then later on, I think he won over 90% of the vote or something crazy. That's, I'll never understand that, man. If anything, that's just a testament to human stupidity. That if you do one of these mock fake elections, right? You're a dictator and you're staging an election. Why not do you win with 54% of the vote? Why not 54%? Why do you have to go 97%? That doesn't make people go, oh, he must have definitely won. It makes us go, oh, it was fake. It was staged. It's amazing, though, but nobody in any fucking dictatorship round room meeting, is that even a thing? In no dictator meeting with their cabinet, that's better, slightly, did anybody say, let's go 54% or 53.6%? They never figure this stuff out. Well, anyway, today we get the news that the Azerbaijan president, his name, which I'll butcher, is Ilham Aliyev. He has threatened war via Twitter. Yeah, he tweeted that his country might go to war. Okay, dude, you can't break up with a girlfriend on Twitter. Never mind declare war. So here's the deal. The neighboring country, which is Armenia, and Azerbaijan have been fighting over some land for a while now. It's called Nagorno-Karabakh, and it's technically in Azerbaijan, but virtually everyone there is ethnically Armenian, and they think it's part of Armenia. It's very similar to like the whole former Soviet Union thing that was going on with Ukraine and Crimea, how the people in Crimea are virtually all ethnically Russian, and they wanted to be part of Russia legitimately, but they were part of Ukraine. It's a fact they were part of Ukraine. It's a very similar thing going on in this particular region with Azerbaijan and Armenia. So there was some fighting recently where I think the troops were going back and forth. A lot of people didn't even know Azerbaijan existed, and never mind, Armenia. More people know about Armenia, but the fact that they had armies could have fooled any of us, even the ones that follow world politics as closely as possible. So apparently 15 people died in the fighting. That's fairly shocking that this is actually a thing going on. And the Azerbaijan president took to Twitter and said the following. I'm not going to give you his whole statement because he went on. He gave a fucking essay. But he said, quote, Nagorno-Karabakh, the occupied territories, are our native lands. If the Azerbaijani army starts an offensive, the enemy will find itself in a very difficult situation. The aggressor state should receive an explicit message that this is aggression and must be stopped. We are not living in peace. We are living in a state of war. Everyone must know this. We will restore our sovereignty. The flag of the Azerbaijan will fly in all the occupied territories, including Shusha and Kankadi. The Armenian barbarians and vandals have razed the city of Agdam to the ground. The ruins of the city of Agdam are clearly visible from here. We will restore all of the occupied and destroyed cities. We will return to this land. We live and will live with this idea. Dude, you got to calm down, man. You got to calm down. It's funny because just like the last segment we were talking about, when we were talking about people being tribal by their nature, and you could see it across the board, whether it's how Russia hates Obama and America, and Americans hate Russians and Vladimir Putin, and we all get very tribal. Israel, Palestine, we get very tribal. But we're so used to those two examples of Russia versus America, or Israel versus Palestine, or India versus Pakistan. We're so used to those that it's harder for us to really stop and with a very sober mind try to figure out what's going on here and try to view it like we were a very intelligent alien species just watching us interact, right? But when you talk about it within the context of Azerbaijan versus Armenia, you really realize, oh my God, this is the dumbest fucking fight ever. The dumbest fucking fight ever. Really, you're going to go to war over a little strip of land? Really, that's what's going to happen? You're going to go to war over a little strip of land? You know, it's like that old saying. I know it's so cheesy, but what is it? There's 1,000 ways to skin a cat. Like, yeah, there's 1,000 ways where you can get peace out of this situation. Whether it's, I don't know, Azerbaijan just manning up and saying, you know what, we'll be all right without that strip of land. Go ahead, Armenia, take it. You're all ethnically Armenian. We don't give a shit. Have a nice day. And by the way, here's a parting gift, and let's be friends. Whatever. Let's open up trade negotiations and have some tea and crumpets. Whatever. Or whether it's splitting up the area 50-50 and saying, all right, now it's settled, we both get half. Or whether it's, I don't know, Armenia saying to Azerbaijan, okay, fuck it, we don't care, take it, it's fine. If people from Armenia that are there want to come to this side of the line, it's fine, but it's all your land. There's a trillion ways to fix this. But what do people do? Especially what do leaders do? Because they think, oh, I'm so special. I'm the leader of this tiny, shitty country that nobody knows of. What do? They immediately run to their corner and they get more tribal and they go to Twitter to call for war. You're not a serious person if you're calling for war on Twitter. You know what reminds me of the story we did yesterday where people in Saudi Arabia flipped out over a female news anchor not wearing her headdress, but then they're doing a hashtag to show their anger. But wait, wouldn't, the Prophet Muhammad or Allah be just as angry that you're using Twitter to communicate, which was created by an infidel secular person who invented the technology? So you're just as bad as she is, but she's not even really doing anything wrong, so what the fuck? You're a massive hypocrite. Stop using Twitter for like this massive, culture war or whatever, or using Twitter for a literal war like they're doing here. Dude, take a couple deep breaths. Nobody gives a shit about your land struggle, okay? Sit down, get some peace. Don't escalate a situation via Twitter. It makes me wonder what else is on his feed as he's calling for war. Like, this is real life, and of course, he's not going to go literally fight the war. He sends poor kids to go fight the war. He's probably sitting there tweeting about war, and then he starts reading some shit from Lady Gaga and Justin Bieber. He's like, oh, that Justin Bieber got in some legal trouble again. Haha, this is so interesting. Anyway, kill the infidels. It's so childish and it's so stupid. I mean, it proves that human beings were apes. We're apes. Again, if an alien species was looking at us, or aliens were looking at us, the human species, they would go, yeah, clear to see that they're slightly more evolved, or maybe even not more evolved than gorillas. They're paler-skinned gorillas / monkeys. Look at what they're doing. They're fighting over a little fucking piece of land. Who gives a shit? What are you doing? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? They've separated themselves into different cliques. There's all different types of nationalities that arise and people fight because of their identity or their culture or their religion. Jews versus Christians and Jews versus Muslims and Muslims versus Christians. And then there's Hindus and Scientologists are in the corner beating off. It's like, enough. Let's stop being idiotic. Let's fucking rise above and realize it's 2014 and realize we likely only get one shot on this planet, so why not actually live it out in a way that makes sense and in a way where we're all happy and we use our minds and we're rational and we give everybody a certain level of comfort and happiness. But no, instead we have idiots declaring war over Twitter.